An important part of event planning is marketing that event. You can have the best event ever, and if no one knows about it, they won't be able to join you. So we're going to talk through some resources on campus for RSOs. First, we'll talk about the university brand and our creative production team. And then we'll talk about some marketing support that our CSU communications team provides. And then we'll jump into student activities and the Maverick Involvement Team, MIT, and what they can do to support your marketing efforts. So to start with our university brand, the university did go through a brand refresh this semester, and so it's really important now more than ever that you work with our creative production team to make sure we get the brand right. The old MNSU logo, we don't want to be using that. We want to switch over to our new look and our new feel. And so most often that comes in the form of promotional items and t-shirts. That's what RSOs often want to do. And so anytime you're doing a giveaway or have a promo item, pens, buttons, sunglasses, whatever they are, if you're going to use the MSU Mankato logo, you need to order them through creative production to ensure that it meets university brand standards. They will give you a quote before you decide whether or not to make that purchase. And if you're able to find a competitor's quote that has a lower price, you might be able to get them to make an adjustment to theirs. That competitor does need to be a licensed vendor for university logos and word marks to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. If you're looking at t-shirts, a minimum order is usually 12 or maybe 24 depending on the type of shirt it is. And just keep in mind that certain items have a limited size space where you can print. And so like a pen, the amount of real estate we've got to actually print something on as a design, it's limited because a pen is small. If you're ordering something like a coffee mug, you might have a bigger area to work with. Keep in mind that when working with a creative production team, if they're doing the design work for you, the designers do charge a per hour fee to have them do the work. But they're really easy to work with, and I would say just give them a call, 507-389-1181, and you can discuss all the options that the creative production team has to offer for RSOs. Now, when we think about the CSU, Centennial Student Union, we have a communications team, and they do a couple things that really helps RSOs and others on campus get the word out. So the first is the CSU CAN. That stands for the Captivated Audience Newsletter. You will see it posted in the CSU restrooms, and there are featured events and squares on one side. There's a calendar of the week on the other, and if you want your RSO event to be featured in that, all you have to do is email the csuinfo@mnsu.edu and submit your events. The deadlines for that are on Tuesdays. I believe it too. The other thing is the Maverick Insider. This is a weekly email newsletter that is sent out on Sunday nights. Many of the featured stories in that email, besides going to all students in the email, they are also then featured on the CSU blog, so then they can be referred back to if it is an informational story about your RSO. Again, the deadline for this is also Tuesdays at 2. And then the communications team is really knowledgeable about all the poster guidelines, and they will help you interpret what those guidelines are, help you navigate the ins and outs of that. And then they also are the office where you get your posters approved and stamped before they are hung up. And a pro tip for this is definitely get your posters approved before you send them to print. Because if something is wrong with the guidelines, you're going to have to toss those posters that you've printed, make the adjustments, and then reprint them. And nobody's got time for that. I'm going to pop out here and just jump over to some of our guidelines. And so you can see this on our website under the CSU. It's also linked in our RSO handbook. But some things to think about: you want to make sure you have the date, time, and location for events so people can join you. We do need you to make sure that whoever is sponsoring the event is clear on the poster. And then we do have some requirements about what logos are required on posters. And so this is where you're going to need to work with the creative production team this year. The Minnesota State University Mankato logo is not available for download at the time. And then make sure that you're not crowding or changing or moving the logos around. And we do have some required statements, which you can see those down below. We do want posters to be 8.5 by 11, which is that regular size paper, or 11 by 17. And so Those are the biggest things. And I think the other thing to think about is those sandwich boards or A-frames are not permitted in the CSU. Those are available for outside use. There's some other things on here, but I'll let you read those because there is just quite a few. And as you have questions, you can ask the MIT or you can ask the CSU marketing team. And that brings me to MIT and student activities. So I mentioned sandwich boards and they're not allowed in the CSU, but they're for outside. You can actually check those out for a week at a time at the student activities front desk here, CSU 173. And you can put your posters on and then set them outside around campus. And then you just have to pick them up and bring them back when your week is over. We also have a button maker where you could make your own buttons. Those are 35 cents per button. You would make them yourself. You could come in and use our machine, so you just have to coordinate with when our office is open. And then MIT, we have an RSO newsletter, and we want to start featuring RSOs and doing an RSO spotlight, as well as promoting featured events. So if you would like to be spotlighted or have an event featured, reach out to MIT. And then MIT's Instagram story, one of the things that we try to do is lift and share other social media posts that we see. So if there is something that you want shared out, make sure you tag us so that you can be elevated. And if you're wondering how to contact MIT to do those things, here's our Instagram. So you can tag us at InvolvedMavs MNSU, or if you just want to reach out an email, stop by, or give us a call, all of our contact information is here on the screen. Good luck, happy marketing.